Welcome to Writers Anonymous YouTube channel. Writers Anonymous presents Even Stranger Stories. Episode 14. Deranged.
I absolutely refuse to work for that wretched woman anymore. Not only is she a cantankerous old bag who criticizes everything I do, she also has been accusing me of trying to kill her. Not that I wouldn't want to mind. Lynn Carroll's passionate outburst made her employer, Beryl, step back with surprise. Okay. Calm down, Lynn. I'm sure someone else can take over your duties. Jacob Welsh needs someone. Perhaps you could pop along to see him later. I'm sure you'll find him much more agreeable. Okay. I will. Anyone is better than that awful Ethel Crow. Lynn grabbed her bag and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. Mark Crow stared at the monitor in disbelief. Dear God. Mom was right. That woman was trying to kill her. Look. He turned the screen towards his sister, Martha. Kitchen camera, look. She is actually putting the powder in Mom's tea. No wonder Mom said it tasted bitter. Thank God she spat it out when the bitch wasn't looking. Martha switched the screen to the living room, clearly shocked at what she was witnessing. 9 a.m., she gives Mom her tablets, then at 9:15 a.m. she hands her 2 more. Thankfully, Mom hid them in the flower pot. It gets worse. Mark's tone was somber. Look at the bath. So much steam. What was she thinking? That temperature would have scalded her terribly. So glad Mom decided not to have her bath that day. I dread to think what could have happened. He sighed and Martha could see her own tears reflected in his. We must take this to the police. Come on. She cannot be allowed to carry on like this. She's obviously deranged. The siblings dashed out of the door. Meanwhile, Lynn checked out Jacob Welsh's neat lawn, then knocked on the front door. She smiled as a grey-haired old man answered. Hello, Mr. Welsh, she inquired, as she flashed her IE. Yes, he responded. I'm Lynn, your new home help. Could I come in, please? I think we should get acquainted over a nice cup of tea.
From an angel of death to something far worse, and an angel's disappearance. Face in the floor.
Against advice, Julie blurted out, I love this house. She was quickly rewarded with a playful nudge from her husband. Just like the other houses, she added. Mrs. Trace, if you'd come this way, I'm sure you'll love this kitchen. The estate agent led them through. Wow. Julie? Her husband mouthed, exasperated. The estate agent smiled to himself. He was certain the couple would finally take this problem property off his books. As Mark wandered the length of the galley kitchen, a salt cellar rolled across the worktop, then crashed on the floor. Julie gave her husband a hard stare. Mark shrugged. It wasn't me. As he bent down to retrieve the salt cellar, the image beneath made him recoil. The slate tile seemed to have sculpted, onto its surface, the face of a tortured individual, more horrific than that of Edvard Munch's The Scream. Bloody hell, Mark exclaimed. What the hell is that? Mr. Trace, it's pareidolia. What? Mark frowned. It's a psychological phenomenon, when people see Goofy in the clouds, or the image of Elvis on some burnt toast. That? It's made by my brain? Yes, Mr. Trace. Mark shook his head. Nothing that horrific could just be an artifact of his brain's functions. He looked at his wife. This is perfect, she mouthed. The move had been problem-free. Julie frowned at the clock. This was the last thing she needed. First day back at work and some noise had roused her. 3:45 a.m. the clock read. Mark remained asleep. Julie pulled on her gown and made her way downstairs. Another crash came from the kitchen. The nearer she got to the galley, the stealthier her approach. There was no reason for the noise. Cracking and rending sounds sent shivers down her spine, goosebumps prickled her flesh. As she peered around the corner, paralyzing fear rooted her to the spot, a scream caught in her throat. The shape in the tile pulled itself free, then focused its crimson eyes upon her, and then it smiled. "Julie?" Mark called out after being woken by her alarm clock. She wasn't in the bed, and the house remained silent.
When death comes from unexpected quarters, sometimes it's better delivered with a pretty face included. Lazy Susan.
She leant up against the bar, scanning the others sitting at the tables dotted around the saloon. Most of them were just drinking, talking and playing cards, ignoring what was going on around them. She felt tense. "Whiskey, Sue?" The barman stood in front of her with a toothless grin, frantically drying a glass with a filthy dishcloth. Susan looked at him from under the brim of her hat and nodded almost imperceptibly. The barman scampered off to get her drink. Someone here wanted to kill her. She just knew it from the moment she had walked in. Her cold, steely blue eyes continued to search for the would-be assassin. She was an expert at this. Then she saw a possible suspect. A man in a dark shirt and pants sitting in a corner booth on his own, a cheroot sticking out from the corner of his mouth. "Whiskey?" The barman placed the drink in front of her. She drank it in one go, feeling the burn in her throat as it went down but not taking her eyes off the stranger. Her trigger hand went to her gun, feeling it comforted her. She was ready for a fight. She'd got the name Lazy Susan simply because she always waited for her opponent to make the first move. None were as quick she was, her hand speed a blur to those watching. The man in the corner didn't move, just sitting with his legs crossed, a whiskey in front of him on the table. He occasionally glanced at her but didn't seem to be in a hurry to go anywhere. Sue waited. She was good at that. A fight broke out between two cowboys on one of the other tables, glass breaking on the floor as the furniture tipped over, but no one else was bothered, except the stranger. He stood up quickly and reached, too slow. Susan's gun was already smoking, with blood beginning to spread across the stranger's shirt. She walked across the room, the bar now silent. "I win again," she said, reholstering her pistol.